And we're finally fucking here, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe expand those little guys. Expand them up a little bit.
Whatever you say.
That's right. That is what I say.
Come on. Do the thing. Oh, you
There
know
you
this
go.
is going to be...
You got to be extremely accurate with those.
Story of my life.
You got to just...
Yeah.
Hey, not bad, not bad.
And... Okay. Hey, guys. Hey, we've had a hard day. We watched Time Bandits, and that wasn't the hard part of our day. The hard part of our day was getting all of this equipment to work properly.
It's all right. It's new, right? You've just sort of...
Yeah, this is day one where I'm actually doing a podcast without Fish around.
Yeah.
And I think that was my problem.
Yeah, Fish is audio master now.
Officially.
Yeah.
Wait, who the hell are you two?
I don't know.
I mean, okay, so...
I don't know how I got here.
You know, if you could just go ahead and take off the Kiss makeup, you know, that would make me feel a lot better about this situation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God, no, put it back on. This is the bonus commentary podcast where we talk about movies, and I attempt to get people to talk about the movies with me. I am joined by Chad.
Hey, everybody.
And Billy.
Hello.
Who is a... what would you say? You're a veteran among the Working on It network?
Yeah, I'm just the guest on everybody's
perpetual
podcast,
guest.
Yeah.
But the new voice is Chad. Chad, tell us a little smidge about yourself.
Where do you want me to start?
Derek
and I have been friends for a long time, and that's probably the biggest mistake either of us have ever made.
That's fair.
We have an on-running joke about ladders, which nobody will ever get.
The key to that is Gravity Falls.
That's true. And yeah, I mean, I went to film school, and I basically just like ripping apart films because that's fun for me.
Yeah.
And now I do nothing that has to do with films whatsoever because I work in QA. So there you go.
Hey, you know what? I followed you, so it's okay. And I brought a lot of people with me.
Yeah, the great grandchildren.
Yes, my kids are spawning kids. It's great, so great. This is my mom asked for kids, and this is not what
and instead you gave her employees.
Yeah, I gave my workplace employees. So Chad is probably the only one on the podcast so far who's at any credentials to talk about any movie ever, as he has written and directed his own student film, which puts him above and beyond any of us.
Wouldn't recommend it.
We are just unworthy.
It's true. You know? It is true.
Derek was a big help on that film because he ran up and down a battleship for me.
It's true.
All day for 3 days straight.
I had legs like Chun-Li.
It was great. It was fantastic.
But that's not what we're here to talk about today, folks. No. We are here to talk about I hesitate to call it a film. It's more of an experience that is Time Bandits.
Yeah, that's...
which was recommended to us by Danny on the last podcast. And... holy shit.
Yeah, it's a trip.
It certainly is. It was produced back in, I believe, the early 80s. I think it was 81.
Yeah, I think 81.
81 is, yeah. If I remember correctly.
Terry Gilliam must have just been cruising on that Monty Python money to then just go off and make a kids movie about a child who was abducted from his own bed, stolen by dwarves.
I don't remember them clarifying exactly what they were.
I mean, so
they used to design trees for like reality because they worked for God, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're like angels.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah.
But they certainly don't look like angels. They literally come out. They're introduced. We're jumping the gun here a little bit. This movie was. It's got a huge cast.
Pretty star-studded.
There's 6 dwarves, the kid, the parents of the kid that are in parts of the movie, all the historical figure. Like, it's big. Yeah, think about it. It's a big cast.
It's a big cast. It's a big production too. It's got huge names in it. If you haven't already, do yourself this favor: pause the podcast right this second. Do any research, find it where you can. I believe you can pull it up on YouTube for like $2 on their service.
to rent it. Yeah.
And just be prepared, man, because we were, at least Chad and I weren't. Billy has actually seen it.
Yeah,
back when he was 10.
Long time ago, yeah. So, but seeing it again is just. I love the movie. I loved it.
It's genuinely hard not to.
I don't know about you guys.
As a disclaimer, this movie is 100% like British film. Like,
yeah.
Like, there's American film, there's like Bollywood films, there's Chinese. This is a 100% British film movie, and you need to kind of understand that to appreciate most of the jokes.
It was zany, to put it one way.
It was zany in a really dry way, though, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's right in the very beginning. I'm 90% sure that the parents were kind of obsessed with this TV show where you either literally win money or you get killed.
Yeah,
but in a really kind of dry, they don't tell you that way. Like,
you know, it kind of reminded me of Requiem for a Dream. Have you seen?
Yeah.
How did this movie remind you of Requiem for a Dream?
Just sort of the like the game show, you know, like TV watching.
S to A.
Yeah. Okay, not that part. Not that. But I don't know.
No, like just that kind of like surreal, doesn't make sense television that people are kind of obsessed with for.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and how just the parents are kind of just obsessed with, you know, just watching TV and sort of.
Yeah, the very first introduction to everybody is like, it's this zoom in on like a city, and then into like a condo complex, and then into their house, and everything is covered in plastic, and they're glued to the TV while the kid actually has his back turned directly to the TV, and he's reading history, and the parents are like, "Fuck you, kid! Stop trying to learn."
Basically, just
they're being parents. Like stereotypical 80s TV parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even trying to be subtle about it. They were just like, these parents are bad. They were complaining about a pot roast not being able to be defrosted in like 8 seconds. Like that was the complaint in the beginning of the movie. It was weird.
And then like they send the kid to bed, and he immediately goes to sleep better than I think any adult, and is
he's like lying there reading his book, and then his dad yells like, "Turn that light off!"
Yeah,
in a terrible British accent. His accent was very good. Mine's just terrible. I'm sorry.
No, Chad is actually British, pretending to be American.
That's true. No, I want to say it's like within 5, maybe 10 minutes,
way before the 5-minute mark. I would say.
Yeah, like it's really early in the movie, and then go ahead and explain it, because
I'm going to try and explain it. The kid's cupboard literally explodes, and this horse and some guy from House Baratheon shows up, and he just starts galloping all over. He jumps over our lead actor. He jumps over the kid and just gallops off into this field.
He also attacks his room's light for no reason. And if you watch the movie, you'll see what I mean. It's not like he just accidentally attacks the light. Like, he purposely sword swings at this ceiling light for no reason and like leaves.
Yeah,
fucking Pepsi.
It's really weird.
I mean, if you just got transported through time into
that's true. That's bedroom, fair enough.
You're just like, what the hell is that?
It's a glimpse, just a glimmer of things to come, as the plot shows up and then disappears for a couple of seconds. Kevin tries to explain himself. The parents are like, "What the fuck?"
Kevin's the main character, by the way.
Yeah. Kevin, not McAllister. Owner of the bluest eyes, I think, in any history ever.
They were like, if you guys have ever seen like the movie Dune.
Oh yeah,
they were like Dune blue. Like natural. I thought he was about to like throw out some magic at certain points in that movie.
The spice.
His voice becomes a weapon.
There was another thing that was really strange about that whole sequence of the house. Like, it was really strangely lit. Like, I couldn't tell what time of day it was based on like the lighting where you would think it would be coming from outside.
Yeah,
it felt like it was perpetually afternoon.
I mean, maybe that's maybe done purposefully, just to show you just sit there, because they're just sitting there watching TV. Like, it's a very monotonous kind of existence, I guess.
It is weird though, because it cuts from like that kid's room being all crazy with the night and stuff, and then the kid like gets up and touches his wall to make sure it's real, and then it like cuts to them eating at some nondescript point of the day.
Yeah,
and the kid being like, "I want to go to sleep," and his parents being like, "The sun's not even down yet. You can't go to sleep yet."
We wouldn't know.
Yeah, but you couldn't tell. And then like it cuts to his parents sitting back in front of the TV, and he peeks in. He's like, "I want to go to sleep now. Sun's down. Bye." And it's like, did a day pass? Are they in the same day? What's going on?
Yeah, and sure enough, he goes to bed with the which is very strange because he has like the messiest room for the smartest kid.
Which it is called back at the
end.
It is
called.
And if you actually pay attention to a lot of the toys, I realized throughout, like after, I realized it at the end of the movie. But if you pay attention to the toys in the beginning, they help set up some of the events of the movie, and then after the final kind of battle of the movie, it's set up via toys in his room.
Yeah.
So it was weird.
I think they did.
They actually tried to do some mise en scène with it, which was nice. Good for them. Appreciate it. Good job, Terry Gilliam.
And that was. Then we get introduced to the ragtag group of time bandits who are all little people, garbed in everything you can think of. We've got a Viking guy. We've got a
my favorite dwarf amongst them. He's the tallest. I noticed he was wearing a pirate hat and he had a machine gun.
Yeah,
like an M16. And the first thing he does in this movie is shoot this ceiling with his machine gun, and that is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Immediately upon this, Chad goes, "That's my favorite character."
I know.
Like, pirate hat and machine gun. There's nothing better.
5 minutes in, and Chad's just like, "This is it."
It was like he's the first one.
Yeah.
He is the first. He's the tallest.
And you were like, "This, like, they better not kill off my two favorite."
Yeah. Like at some point else in the movie, one of the dwarves start being nice to Kevin.
Yeah.
He like starts treating him like an actual like good friend, and I'm like, he's my second favorite. And then every time they were in danger, I was like, they better not kill them.
And they basically break it down to Kevin that he is looking for the map. He eventually shows himself to be this floating spectral head who looks exactly like Andros from Star Fox.
From Star Fox, like Super Nintendo Star Fox.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't have the grabby hands.
I was thinking like Zordon, but without the little chamber that contains his head.
That's why they needed the container.
He got loose.
Shit. They built it for him.
They call him the Supreme Being, by the way. They don't
being.
actually call him God, I don't think, ever, which is weird.
They never use the G word.
Yeah. He's a Supreme Being. I think Kevin's like, is he like God? And then they're like, what? I don't know. We're not that close. We just work for him.
Yeah, I think it definitely, in the movie, it sort of expresses that, like, that religion, sort of as we know it, is wrong. And they sort of got a lot of these things wrong. And God, I guess the map that they have, that time map, they mentioned in it that there was a lot of mistakes, and so they left all these holes through time open and everything. So
I do think they mentioned, like, I think this was, if I remember correctly, they said something like, well, when you make all of reality in 7 days, like, there's lots of mistakes.
They did not have enough time. This was not properly QA'd.
Yeah,
this is.
And they're just like, most of the stuff we have to patchwork, but
So like right after the introduction of the Supreme Being, they find a time hole, which is basically beyond Kevin's wall, which is this like faux wall they can push through. Well, they push it, and it kind of like creates a hallway of sorts until it's not. It like kind of like becomes like a garage door, like it kind of pushes open, and they all begin to fall through the fabric of space. And it's definitely not dummies falling through like
definitely not.
Oh yeah, no, it's like that meme of Kermit being thrown off the roof. Just like the limbs are behind him. It's super cheesy. I loved every second of it.
Yeah. Those 80s,
the little kid's like terror scream when you can tell he's not actually scared is the funniest thing.
And we find ourselves landing in the Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah. Which is pretty
to start. Yeah, and there's this mass exodus of people trying to leave France.
No, they were.
Or was it France?
I think they were in Italy.
I think you're right. I think it was Italy.
Because at some point...
He keeps mentioning that it's Italy. He's like,
I heard that the Italians were very short people. Like, that's his reason for being there.
Yeah. And I did like, when, they meet Napoleon... And he's just constantly obsessed with shortness.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminded me of like Invader Zim, how they have the tallest and sort of their whole
society is based on like
how tall
the taller
you
are. Yeah.
Yeah, but in reverse, so it's all about how short
He does
Everyone
go
was.
like off on this tangent at some point where he's just like labeling all these other really impressive military leaders. And he's always just like Alexander the Great. He was like 5'0" and like Attila the Hun. He was a wee little guy. Like,
And it turns out that God, it was Bilbo Baggins.
yeah, I was
Bilbo.
gonna say
The-
Napoleon's
the,
Bilbo Baggins.
The actor who plays Napoleon is Bilbo Baggins, and it is
From Lord of the Rings, not from The Hobbit. To be clear,
Yeah.
correct.
it's not
Yeah,
Martin Freeman.
I forgot that I have to start prefacing that now. But
he
yeah,
was
no,
also in Aliens, right?
Yeah, it was,
he was the
Yep.
Yep.
In the first, he was an alien. Yeah, the first one, right?
The android.
an alien. Sorry, yeah, an alien. Yeah, I just can remember if they called them androids or something else. But
Yeah, they were. Well, they weren't androids. I think it was just synths was, I think, the name they started giving them in Aliens. But
gotcha. But yeah, he was that guy.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
Same actor. Let's see where we. Bilbo's Baggins. Oh, so they wait for Napoleon to drink himself into a stupor before they rob his ass blind. And they have 30 seconds to leave, folks. They have 30 seconds to leave, and it takes them about 25 seconds to like bundle up all the booty and like wander out.
Yeah.
I am sure 30 seconds has elapsed before they even cut to a different scene.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
know. Yeah. Like, let's haul this sack
all
of
these
gold.
things.
But their evacuation is brilliant. They just they get into Napoleon's good graces so quickly that they become generals and
Like he
tell
he
everyone
spot
to turn.
promotes them. He's
Yeah.
just like, you're generals now. Like,
They command all the forces to literally just turn around. And so they about face,
Yeah.
and they just, like you hear the chunk 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 of like all the booty being stolen. A very quick chase scene ensues, and we're a little bit further into the plot.
Yeah, that reminds me of there was a line a little before they met Napoleon, and they're sort of like going over the map, and then there's a lot of great like sort of little lines when they're what is it? Yeah, I agreed. There was no leaders. There'll be no leaders.
oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So shut up and listen to me.
I
great
have
ones.
that marked down
Those
as
are
like one
really
of my
good.
favorite lines.
Yeah,
That line hit really close to home for me because that's I mentioned it during the movie too, but like that's every D&D campaign I ever play. Like every group I'm ever in, they're just like, we don't want leaders, we want democracy in this game. And I'm just like, that's fine, just listen to me.
We crash forward into the Middle Ages where Shelley Duvall and another Monty Python lead actor whose name escapes me at the moment, they're confessing their love for each other in this carriage.
Terribly designed carriage.
Yeah, and some of the most hackney, goofy acting, and it eventually comes down to the dwarves, the entire group just falling into the into the carriage
As they're about to kiss, like they
Yeah,
allude that they're about to kiss, and then like the entire like Time Bandit crew just like slams into their carriage.
Yeah, taking it out of commission. It's so well done in my opinion. Just like I feel like they sat them down and was like, okay, this is clearly going to be a kids comedy, so go ahead and just overplay the shit out of this. And Shelley Duvall is just like, yes, I love you.
Her over the top performance is kind of like a highlight of this movie.
Oh my
Like,
god,
yeah.
it's a lot of fun to watch.
There's also, because it sets up a really weird joke later, during that scene they also mention a personal problem the guy has, but they don't allude to what it is really. They're just like, what about this personal problem? And he's just like, I've taken care of it. And like, and you're just like, what are you talking about though?
It's never. I need
fruit.
I need
Yeah.
fruit.
And then later on when the personal problem springs up, his reply is, I need fruit. And you're like,
I require.
what's going on?
So many questions now.
It's at this point in the movie that I realized, I don't need plot. I just need these guys to be running around for 2 hours just stealing shit. This is so much fun to watch, but then it turns out that I actually was wrong because there's some just jaw-dropping shit.
I was gonna say, so like this is a point where you kind of sit back and you're just like, okay, this is a really I don't say this to disparage the movie. It's a bad movie in the sense that like it's meant to be corny and cheesy, and like it's 1980 cheese. It's a funny movie because of all that, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but I mean, it's not meant to be like a serious,
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
what about all these? If they went back in time and stole all this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah. Oh no, like
gonna
all
change
of
the future,
Yeah,
nobody's doing.
nobody's
Endgame.
caring anything
Yeah.
about time travel.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if they watched Doctor Who before writing this and were just like, fuck all of that.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
make something
Just
totally
everything
no one cares.
different.
Um,
But one of my favorite parts about that is like that's where you kind of sit back and you go, if this was a TV show about people just stealing stuff through time, that'd be fun.
I mean, there have been shows that kind of do that. When I first was introduced to this movie, the first thing that came up to me was that Cartoon Network show Time Cops, Time Squad, where they literally do the inverse of robbing. They just try and fix time. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Hang on.
I vaguely remember that
Yeah,
show.
yeah. It's actually got a great theme song. But yeah, like I feel like a lot of movies and TV shows have come from this. Like it certainly
That's something
feels
that
that
I think
way.
all of us noticed throughout it was that in a really weird way, it feels like a lot of things that came after this movie kind of bit from this movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
You could definitely be like, this completely influenced everything, just every movie.
Yeah,
Every
and like a
single
really off the wall sort of way.
Yeah,
After they leave the Shelley Duvall bit, we go back to the Shelley Duvall bit where they're tied up by some local robbers. They bump into said local robbers later.
Pause for a second. Oh no, okay, you're still in the same area. Okay, no,
Yeah.
keep going because I was just like, I think there's a thing that happens between these two events, but no,
Yeah.
you're right.
But they pass by them in the tree. They're tied up by these bandits. They meet the bandits by them getting kidnapped. Basically, they're strung up by their heels via rope traps, and they have the best like. How tough are you? Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. Like they're having a conversation where it's like, do you steal children's toys? And it's like, whenever we can. Do you steal the cans from Poppers? Oh yeah, they have great coin in there. And just like shit like that. Yeah, and they're literally growling at each other.
They always break.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
And we're introduced to the bandit camp. And there's this great bit where these two guys are just arm wrestling with each other, and you just see them straining, and they're going at it, and they're going, and then eventually, he just takes the other one's arm off. He's just like, yeah, who's next? And he throws the arm into a pile,
Wheelbarrow
A pile
of
of arms.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was great. And we're introduced to that bandit group's leader, who was John Cleese as Robin Hood.
The most polite man ever.
Yeah.
He's just like,
very good, very good.
yeah, how long have you been a bandit? 4'3".
Are you a robber too? Yes, yes. Oh, yes.
4'3" is a long time. Oh man. And then they eventually just steal from the Time Bandits. The Robin Hood characters steal from the Time Bandits.
The poor will love this.
Yeah.
Have you met them? The poor.
They're great, very nice. They ain't got 2 pennies to rub together, but that's because they're poor.
And then the hype man. You remember
Oh my
that?
god! Like one of his underlings is like the best hype man because he basically just angrily shakes his fist until people start laughing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's who I need. Like,
And they bring that up a little later when the poor come up and they start redistributing the wealth. And for whatever reason, the hype man just starts punching everyone who takes
it's like
gold.
Yeah, it's like you get a gift and you get punched in the face.
And
I
John
think-
Cleese even
yeah.
looks over and goes, "Is that absolutely necessary?" And
Mind you, he can't understand his hype man. They
Yeah.
point this out. Like his hype man,
he's speaking
He's the boomhauer.
gibberish. Yeah.
He's the boomhauer of.
and he just kind of like mumbles something, and the guy next to him is just like, he says, yes, it is necessary. And like Robin is just like, okay, like punches an old lady. Like,
and then we're introduced, maybe like the 40-minute mark to the
Yeah.
main villain. This is almost a 2-hour movie, by the way. This was
well,
surprisingly
the
long.
Time Bandits leave Robin Hood's camp,
Yeah.
and yeah, then we're introduced to.
Satan?
Yeah.
I literally just think he
Literally-
calls himself evil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
just the
But
embodiment.
yeah,
of
he's
evil.
kind of Satan, and his whole aspect is the best.
Yeah, we took like a very sudden turn into like sci-fi horror, where like he's got like this skull helmet with like a tube coming out of the mouth, and like
It seems very like Alien, like Ridley Scott kind of.
yeah. I feel like H.R. Geiger was just like,
yeah.
yes. It's just a little much.
So there was a movie, I think it was called Dark City.
Yeah.
It like reminded me of Dark City because like he kind of looked like one of those people that come out at night in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was really weird because it's all kind of fantasy feeling, and then it's just like
Suddenly.
evil sci-fi, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, this is like a little sadistic. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't want to see my kids movie.
Master Control
Yeah,
program.
same actor. And his whole gimmick is he wants to understand digital watches so that he can understand other digital media until eventually he becomes, from what I can understand, the internet.
Technology.
Yeah, he basically just wants to become technology.
And then that was the best part. One of my favorite parts of the movie. When one of his little henchmen.
So he to properly set this up, one of his henchmen says something, and he blows them up immediately.
Yeah.
He says, he like goes off on this mini tirade of like, no one created me. Evil was here before the rest of the universe. And he's talking about how he was here and older than the supreme being. And then one of his henchmen just goes like, but if that's true, then why are you here? Boom! He immediately blows him up.
Yeah, he blows him up, and then he's like, good question.
Yeah.
Good question. He doesn't just blow him up. He blows him up twice.
It's actually the best blow up in the movie because he blows him up, and then his like lower body doesn't. What's the opposite of blow up? Implodes, and then it blows up again.
Yeah.
Like,
He's pretty pure evil.
Yeah, he's pure evil.
Pure concentrated evil.
and anybody that listens to this that watches or that plays D&D or any role playing game, pay attention to this villain because you're gonna want to use him.
It's just his one note is that he's evil, and they just play it up, man. They just have fun with it. So Andros eventually comes back into the picture and pushes the plot along, basically kind of forcing them to choose between two doors. And there's that moment where they're like, just pick any door. And then he jumps through one, and immediately, Kevin chooses a door, and immediately they hear another one go, no, not that one, not that one.
Mind you, it's like a good minute of them just being like, either door, just choose one.
Oh, wait a minute. Shit.
And we're brought into this Greek guy fighting a minotaur, like a full-blown minotaur.
Mm-hmm. Minotaur man.
Yeah.
Well, I call him.
It was like a dude with a dead cow.
We're not sure. That could just be 80s cheese.
No. Because he took the head off.
He took the like helmet thing.
Yeah. It's just
a
helmet.
So one thing that actually surprised me about this movie, taken out of context, a lot of the like bad guys in this movie are actually kind of terrifying to think about. Like evil Minotaur dude was just a huge dude walking around with a dead cow head, and it was like rotting.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of creepy.
Yeah,
it's pretty creepy.
But in context of this movie, it's more just weird.
For kids.
Yeah, for kids.
Kids movie.
And how could he see through that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just looking through
his neck.
So Kevin falls to this guy, lands on or at least distracts the Minotaur long enough for the Greek guy to kill the Minotaur, and it's revealed that it's Sean Connery. As the king of Greece.
He's like the king
he's
of that
king.
Greek city.
Yeah, like he's definitely a king of some renown.
And mind you, that Greek city looked like it was in the middle of Egypt.
Yeah, it wasn't like the lush cities you see normally, right? It's like
it wasn't like Athens or Sparta. It's just like desert.
Yeah,
and Greek dude.
And it kind of when he got back, when Sean Connery, that king guy got back to the city, it kind of seemed like his wife was surprised that he was back.
Yeah,
I was almost like
she didn't have a single line, but she was always like glare.
Everything Sean Connery did made her mad.
Yeah.
And you could tell they didn't want to pay her a lot because they were just like, express all your anger through your eyes, never say anything.
So he brings the aforementioned Minotaur head to Greece. and proclaims the city's villains are dead and throws it off the side. I'm fairly certain like 3 people are killed because of just the sheer mass, the horns and everything. And just,
those
like,
horns definitely take out at least one.
Yeah,
Definitely killed somebody.
Killed a couple of people.
Kids movies.
It's never shown, but you know.
What is this rated? Is it PG?
I have no idea. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Okay.
Because it feels like it could be kid friendly. I mean, I saw it when I was little, so I mean,
It definitely feels like it's geared more towards kids. It doesn't have like any particularly serious things that you might see in 80s like more mature movies, I suppose you can call it.
yeah.
I hate to say mature, like I'm a mature
PG.
adult.
It is PG.
PG, yeah. I mean, this was also back in the day when, like, I mean, it wasn't like E.T. It was like G, I think, right? And there's a couple, or the Goonies.
Yeah.
Like, some of the G ratings, you're like, how the hell was that a
This
G
was like
rating
in the
back
day where, like, as long as you didn't cuss and you didn't show any sex scenes, you could be chill. A kids movie.
Yeah. So we
And there's no like actual violence shown.
yeah, well, I mean,
Dude, people were
kind
being
of.
executed.
Yeah,
Did you
straight-
see that?
yeah,
and I'm
okay,
like,
yeah,
okay, but
this
there's
is
a PG movie?
Going back to
I rephrase. There's no actual gore shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
No
it's like
blood.
gratuitous. There's that opening going back to
The Napoleon.
the Napoleon era. Yeah, like there's like this really like happy, cheery music going on, and then like there's an execution squad immediately after, like while the happy music is still playing, and we just watched 3 people freaking get shot to death. That's kind of like that's almost like a perfect representation of this movie. It's like weird zany music over what the fuck imagery.
That's a constant theme in this movie. It's just like, oh, this should be a happy thing. Here's all the dark shit.
Yeah.
So we go ahead. We spend some time with Sean Connery and the kid. The kid gets adopted basically by Sean Connery.
Yeah. I think this part is sort of the kind of most tragic part of
Yeah, it's very
the movie.
It's very sudden. Like it's a weird downturn note they decide to make.
Because like he's actually a really good father figure. Like you see in the beginning, his parents are just basically
total
horrible
dicks.
Yeah, like pieces of shit parents, and then he finds like actually good parents who care about him. And,
Well, okay, to be clear, he finds an actually good dad.
yeah, okay, yeah.
You're like when the king was just like, he will be my heir. The queen again just was like angry look. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the gang of time bandits come.
Yeah, they come right on back. They're
And-
reintroduced. And they basically not only steal the kid back, Kevin, but they also steal from the king. And you know,
and like all of his audience.
yeah,
Yeah.
they give generously, ha, and bye. They take off. They land on a boat. It's not exactly specific which boat at that particular moment.
And also, I just want to, I mean, and the Kevin is not happy to leave.
Oh
He
no,
wants
no.
to stay.
No,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they on the boat they introduce clearly that Kevin is just like, you guys are a bunch of dicks. Why'd you guys take me?
Even like when they're trying to drag Kevin along, he's kind of like,
He's
no, I
fighting
don't want to
them.
go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. And
Yeah.
like the king not knowing what's going on is just like, oh, go, like be part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mind you, he's a kid, so I guess he's not smart enough to be like, they're trying to steal from you.
yeah.
Like, which is what I would have done. Like,
I can't articulate that.
So yeah, Kevin's having a bit of a bummer moment, and one of the other time bandits is like, yeah, man, we have this big score coming up. You're gonna be really excited.
Don't jump ahead, Derek, because when they land on this ship, who do they run into?
That's right. I did jump ahead. We are reintroduced to Shelley Duvall and the same actor, and they're having a bit of a conversation in regards to if she could ever possibly love a man with a thing on his nose. And
it looks like a wart.
It looks like it's a wart that's been removed because it's like just like a crevice.
Yeah, it's really weird looking.
It's not too terrible. And Shelley Duvall is like, oh, yes, of course I can love you. Everybody's got something strange about them. I have this huge... Oh, darling. Like, cuts her off.
And just to clarify, this version of Shelley Duvall and whoever the male actor is not the same people that we ran into earlier.
Yes.
This is a completely different time period.
Which we might confirm as...
I'm pretty sure... Well, let's get through the plot first, because then I have theories. I have theories about like other stuff that was going on in this movie.
Yeah. So after this conversation and the main time bandit looking for some ice, it's revealed that they're on the Titanic, and immediately sinks. They take no time.
It was like right after one of the leader of like the time match was just like, and bring ice, and then it's just like they run into an iceberg.
Yeah,
Like,
immediately.
Bring ice. I didn't catch that actually.
yeah,
You
it's
said
just
that?
like it's like more champagne and bring ice, and it's just like iceberg.
And then no, it shows the SS Titanic, and then it's everything
iceberg.
starts to like crash and careen.
Nice.
And while they're kind of like floating in the Atlantic Ocean,
So
the
Titanic
Yeah.
completely ripped off Time Bandits.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
true. I thought they even did like a quick like two guys like holding on to each other like Rose and Leo,
I know, Rose. Yeah,
or whatever.
Jack
Rose
and
Leo.
Rose.
Nope,
Excuse me.
Rose and Leonardo DiCaprio's Leo in every movie.
It's true. One of them gets possessed by the master computer,
by evil.
Master
by
control
by
program.
evil,
Yeah.
Evil.
and relays to them that there's this great treasure that lies beyond the veil of darkness and blah 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 blah, and they're just kind of go, yeah, sure, whatever. And they basically abandon their little life raft. Kevin's problems with them are basically ignored throughout the rest of the movie, so don't be looking for that Kevin being upset at them plot ever again.
Yeah, he kind of says a few things here and there where he's just like, I didn't want to be here anyways, but it's like it's never really addressed.
Yeah. And they get transitioned in this really wacky, like white for black, white for almost every color except for like some colors. It's hard to describe, but they fly through time basically, and it looks like they're coming out of water in this weird filter and then falling back into this water in the same filter, and it's very confusing. And they don't land on the boat, right? They land back in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, they land in the water.
Yeah.
And then Beauty and the Beast show up.
Okay, so to be fair, Beauty and the Beast is what we ended up calling them.
Yeah.
It was an ogre.
It was an ogre and a witch.
What I assume is a witch.
Yeah.
She didn't actually do any magic power stuff, but she did a lot of like potion-y
She had a cauldron.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
it's true. She had a cauldron, so
the
yeah,
large
we're on a
cauldron.
witch.
Yeah.
And I ship them so hard.
Oh my god.
They're so supportive of each other.
Evil people in really supportive relationships is my new favorite thing. And I think any story I ever write from now on is going to have that somewhere.
Yeah, so the ogre beast is he goes fishing. He throws out a line and he catches the time bandits and he pulls them aboard. And the witch goes to.
Well, ogre catches the time bandits. The witch pulls them aboard.
That's right. That's
Because
right. I forgot
witch-
about that.
the
Yeah,
witch is
'cause
like-
he
The
can't
ogre's-
do it because he's got a bad back.
Yeah, the ogre's got a bad back.
Yeah.
Um,
Which he feels like it makes him less terrifying, and the witch is just very like, you're still extremely terrifying, and
Yeah.
that is the cutest thing.
I know he's all self-conscious.
Yeah,
you know,
but she's super supportive of him and his terrifyingness.
yeah, just leer at them, honey. Is basically what it boils down to.
Leer and growl.
And she goes to go get her sharpening tool so she can like chop them up into little bits and eat them. And Kevin's like, "Hey, you've got a bad back," and they have this great sound effect, which is like this overblown like popping noise. I'm fairly certain they just got a kendo stick and started smacking it against the wall to represent the pops. And we cut to them basically healing the ogre by like pulling his extremities, just like
Trying to like stretch his back.
yeah,
out.
It's like they're like drawing and quartering him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
with
yeah.
Dwarves.
But like
which
after
is apparently extremely great for ogre backs.
yeah,
yeah.
they go ahead and
Heave him into the ocean.
heave him into the ocean like you do. Jump into the cauldron, and as the witch goes to go check on him, by the way, ogre's entirely fine. He's on cloud nine.
Yeah, he's like,
Love
I
it.
feel great.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
part
yeah.
of the treatment.
This is great. And so they jump into the pot, turn it on its side, and then they basically ram into the witch to throw her into the water. And I think what was it? I was writing notes. Does he like belch at the boat, causing
he
it?
says cough.
Yeah.
He says like, I feel like I can cough. I haven't been able to cough in years, and like But he kind of just growls really loudly, and I think that was supposed to be a cough.
Okay.
He coughed, quote unquote, so loudly that it created wind strong enough to propel the boat.
I mean,
which is even more surprising when you get to the next part, guys.
It's true. It's true. I mean, have you heard an ogre cough before?
I haven't. So
Shrek never taught me that. They taught me about burps and farts, but they never taught me about coughs.
That's true.
It's true.
So later, a little later on, we get they're having problems with the ship. It's not going the way they want it to.
Yeah, they commandeer the ship. Right?
Yeah, they have the ship
they
now.
get the ship.
Yep.
Yeah, they go ahead and take off with it.
And they do look like they can steer it somewhat, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, and then it's not going the way they want it to. And then it's revealed that it's not exactly a ship. It's the hat of a giant.
Yeah.
And it's so just like, it's so out of the blue and matter of fact that it just like, I felt my jaw just like, when they're revealing this, it's just like the ship starts coming out of the water, and you can kind of see like skin colored mound underneath it. And at that moment, I was just like, I swear to God, if there's a giant underneath this thing,
100%.
Yeah, he's like covered in tribal tattoos and got these great big hoop earrings, and they hold on this for a long time, and then like for no reason at all, there's like this little hut and this couple arguing in it that the giant just crushes for no reason. Never explained. They put him. Kevin puts together that there's a sleeping potion.
The people arguing in the hut, by the way, look like really, really, really poorly designed Muppets. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
and they talk like Swedish Chef.
Yeah. It's they inject him with the sleeping potion. The giant takes the ship off of his head and he takes a nap, and that's the last we ever see of him.
Yeah,
it's never explained.
Integral to the plot. Integral.
Yeah, like
it's never explained how the massive cough wind propelled the boat, because it clearly wasn't needed. It's never explained what the giant was doing.
I mean, maybe that cough was really that.
Maybe it was really powerful,
super powerful.
And I think that guy's like a titan, you know, like, because this was in the time of legends.
That's true. That's where they got sent.
And so this is just like, you know, in the mythology of those
I'm
titans.
definitely willing to back up the Titan theory.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
It was just so oddly placed.
Yeah, with zero to no explanation, no warning whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And they hold on it for a good long while. Like, they do these great Godzilla like low angle shots, so he looks bigger than he is, and they put him in the slower or higher frame rate.
So all of his movements are like slow and exaggerated, and
they had a great sound effects going on in that. No, you're hearing this right, folks. This is something that happened in a movie. This is.
It was great. I loved it.
I think at this point we all kind of like looked at each other in unison and said, "Danny, what the fuck?
What are we watching?
What are we watching, buddy?"
I remember at the very beginning of the movie, I think Derek was just like, how many drugs should I be on to be watching this movie? Like,
I feel like I'm too sober for this opening title sequence.
And as the movie progresses, you feel more and more sober, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I started out sober. I got ultra sober in this movie. Like,
we kind of had, and they just for whatever reason bump into this invisible barrier, and
they're like marching through a desert.
Yeah, and they're done. They're like there's obviously tension amongst them, and they're arguing that they should just turn around and go home. And one of the leader turns around. Oh, not the leader, excuse me, but the one everybody listens to.
There's no leaders here.
Yeah, there's no leaders. Turns around, grabs just a random skull. There's bones littered all over the bones, and picks up a skull, turns around and throws it at this glass barrier that's kind of blocking their path, and it breaks for whatever reason. He just knows that this is going to happen.
I don't even know if he knows this is going to happen. I think he might have just been like
frustrated,
angry,
yeah,
with his people.
Yeah, because they're like, it's over, but there's no evil fortress.
Yeah, there's no fortress of darkness.
And mind you, the whole reason they're on this, and I wanted to remind everybody of this because of
Yeah, I may have glossed over it.
They're trying to find the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness or something, in which lies the most sought after treasure ever.
Yeah, the best treasure in the world, I believe, is what it is.
This was all information given to them via mind control from evil. Just so you know.
And kind of foreshadow. Well, Chad, he's absolutely right. There's this great miniature scale shot of like the castle from the top-down angle, and it's really nice. But I missed it. But Chad caught it. It was the
angle that they're shooting it at is like so just straight vertical shot down on the castle wall. You can see the bridge that the dwarves and Kevin are supposed to be walking across, and they clearly claymationed it, but like really early claymation to where they hadn't gotten it down yet. So it looks like they're
Harryhausen's
just
rolling over,
jumping like pixels. Like, they're just like going forward. It's funny.
I didn't catch that. I was too busy looking at the castle. I just missed it. But they make their way in, and there's this maze, and there's very clearly a treasure at the end of this maze. But it turns out to be a kitchen set
that was brought up in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, in a commercial.
Yeah, and then you see the host of the TV show that kitchen set was on.
Yeah.
Who because we're already name dropping other roles. The host of the TV show, which was called Your Life or Your Money, by the way, and if it wasn't your money, you died. What is Professor Slughorn?
Yeah,
from Harry Potter.
Yeah,
and my very first reaction to seeing him in the TV show was like, shouldn't you be teaching kids right now? And yeah, so he shows back up for the evil moment.
Yeah,
that's coming up, which is really funny.
They make their way to the kitchen set, and it's
his mom and his dad are also there.
Yeah, Kevin's mom and dad,
who immediately evaporate into the evil.
The
evil and
his
his minions.
The host turns into the evil, and then his two henchmen.
Yeah, and they take the map that the Time Bandits have been using to jump across time. And
because with the map, evil can escape.
Yes, he can now learn about digital watches.
Tell me about computers.
Computers.
His henchmen are the best too because they're all clearly dumb, but they all know way more about modern technology than he does.
I know.
Yes.
Like computers are automatic,
like Webster's
calculating
dictionary.
Yeah.
Like, what is a computer? Like
it's an automated system.
Ask Alexa what something is, and that's basically what they sounded like. It was great.
It kind of reminds me of Monty Python and Holy Grail, and that you have like the peasants who are like, we're part of an autonomous collective. Like, how do you know this?
They reminded me of in Pirates of the Caribbean. You have the two pirates, the tall skinny one and the shorter fat one.
Yeah,
and it's like they're clearly dumb, but then they just know the most random stuff.
Yeah,
where they're just like they argue over the correct pronunciation of Kraken versus Kraken, and you're like, but you're stupid. Like,
So yeah, evil takes the map. All hope is lost. They are held over a chasm into a never-ending abyss in these cages. But they come to discover that Kevin took a Polaroid picture of them with the map open, and it's revealed.
Polaroids in this universe are super high def, by the way.
Oh God, yeah! Like all they needed was a magnifying glass. That was the magnifying glass was their zoom and enhance. Zoom and enhance.
Where did he even get that magnifying glass? I guess he had his bag with
him.
him.
Like he just shoved a bunch of random stuff in those bags at the beginning.
This kid was really well prepared for something like this, just being dragged out of bed.
Yeah, because he was dragged out of bed,
and he had the Polaroid.
He's like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, let me pack my shit as we're getting chased.
The weirder part about that is that when he's in Greece, he loses all his stuff and he gets like dressed in Greece clothes, like, and then they steal him in these Greek clothing. But then he immediately has all his stuff back. So it's like, did you guys make a side trip? Like,
who knows?
We may never know. The only one who will ever know is Terry Gilliam. We got to go talk to this guy. So, yeah, Kevin's got the key to the Polaroids, or knows what's going on with the Polaroids. And they do this great escape act where they take some of the rope from their cage that's like holding them over the abyss, making it a smaller rope so they can
staircase de Soleil themselves.
It's kind of
Over.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not how physics work, but dear God, is it a lot of fun to watch.
This is another one of those D&D moments for anyone that's listening.
Yeah. They rolled 20s consecutively.
Oh, yes. It is one of those things where you're just like, I know this shouldn't work, but I'm really happy it's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in every Marvel movie ever.
Yeah. They make their way across. We get a fake out death scare with
Of
Fidget.
my favorite dwarf, by the way.
I know.
He was so I think he like shifted in his seat. Like he was genuinely worried.
I did. I'm not
Chad
gonna
was
lie.
like,
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll get to
I actually said the words. I was like, don't die. You're all I have left in this movie.
yeah, and then yeah, he like seconds later is like begins crawling up the rope, like no big deal. They don't even give him like triumphant music. It's like, well, yeah, of course he's fine. What are you talking about?
I'm here. I was like, all right.
So they decide that they're going to steal the map back from the evil, and
To save the world.
Yeah, and they do it in the weirdest way possible. One of them runs across a hall, begins to pull the map, and then just like begins to fold it like almost indefinitely. It feels like because he just
And then for some reason, Kevin starts like telling him to throw it.
Yeah.
It's just like, but he's like 5 feet away. He could just run back.
yeah.
So he throws it across the hall, and
like ruined the folding when he did that.
yeah,
Yeah,
just,
like,
It
it
spent
came
all this
unfolding.
time. Yeah.
There was before this, Evil had turned one of his henchmen into a guard dog,
oh yeah, that's
and then
right.
walked away.
the really cute guard dog.
The adorable Benji guard dog.
Yeah.
And then walked away with one of his other henchmen to like go and research stuff. And then the guard dog starts barking.
Yeah.
And immediately Evil's just like, "Shut up!" Like why did you
ask
make
me
a
to do
guard
this?
dog
Yeah.
then?
Why are you the worst, Evil?
And I also want to point out that up until now, we've only seen Evil use lightning powers from his hands.
Yeah.
And that becomes really funny when the end of the scene comes up. Let's continue.
Yeah, no. I mean, it just in the flash of an eye, the bandits take off. The one who's left behind begins to run down a corridor. Evil turns around, lifts up one of his joints from his finger, revealing it's a gun, and fires off 2 fingers. God, that's a sentence I just had to say. at this guy, and turns him into like a half man, half pig.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it's not a normal gun. It's apparently a magic gun.
Yeah. Pig gun.
Yeah,
Pig gun.
To turn people.
These finger guns, by the way, are never brought up again.
Nope. I mean, there's a lot of things that this guy has up his sleeve that are never brought up again, but that's we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Turn into a pig man. And it's revealed that the layer of ultimate darkness is made of Legos.
That was
true.
like a really
Yeah.
weird part. They were just like running around, and then it's just like Legos.
I think you're onto something. We'll get to that in a second.
And most of his lair was designed by like it's made out of Legos, but it was clearly designed by MC Escher.
Yeah, it's got a very like chessboard aesthetic. So we get the rescue of Kevin, which is just awesome. Like
So what happens after they get it is that Kevin convinces the others to go through time
and go get
and
help.
get help.
Yeah.
And so Kevin's left there by himself.
With
And the
him and the
reason I
pig
wanted
man.
to bring this up is because the things that are chasing them are also genuinely terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, my God! like these tall robed figures with like cow skulls.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
they're
ring
like,
wraiths.
They're like ring
Yeah.
wraiths, but with cow skulls.
Yeah,
and they're taller, and when they move, they kind of like I don't know how to describe
They
it. They
lumber.
Like, yeah,
It's
they like
very
lumber around.
It's very strange looking. It's very cool.
They have like, and it doesn't look
Yeah,
like they have
hooks.
hands. They have like a hook. Again, like in this movie, just kind of like, okay, this is weird, but like if you took this and you could take a lot of the things in this movie and just make it a genuinely terrifying horror movie.
Yeah, no, it was great. Shit, man. But yeah, so they're chased in, and there's this great confrontation between Kevin and the evil, and one of the walls breaks down to reveal a tank, like a full-blown Panzer, just bursts through the wall.
Yeah.
Chad's laughing hysterically.
So before this, Kevin and the Pigman are surrounded
Right.
because the Pigman stays to help Kevin.
Right.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin, and they're surrounded by Evil and all his henchmen. And Kevin's just like, tell them to back off or I'll burn the map. And so Evil, being the best villain ever, he does not just tell his people to back off, he just murders them all.
Yeah.
And he just like
them and they're
blows
like,
them all up.
"Yay!"
Yeah, they're all happy about it.
Yeah, I love that the henchmen are like, oh yes, finally.
He like looks at one of them and he's just like, it's your time. And he's just like, oh, thank you, master. And he like blows them all up and you're just like, dude, he didn't say okay.
Yeah, and then he cements himself as one of the greatest villains by turning around and killing the guard dog too, which explodes like.
Oh my, yeah, no.
Like there's even like a little bit of tail. It's still
Yeah.
hanging out on frame. I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh, that dog.
Yeah, John Wick somewhere twitched.
And then so it's, and he turns the pig man into full on pig at some point.
Yeah.
And then so it's just Kevin versus Evil.
Until,
and then,
then the heroes all start coming in. We get all the time bandits have like one of them has a tank. One of them has
the first one has a tank.
Yeah, the first one has a tank.
There's a bunch of knights.
There's the cowboys. There's
Archers.
Someone
One
from
of
the future.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
one of them has
one
like
of
a
them-
weird spaceship thing.
Yeah.
looks like literally just one of those like 25-cent toy rides, like
But they
but
brought,
with a laser gun put on the front.
they brought all of time.
Oh my god.
back.
Lego movie bit off this movie.
Yep.
Spaceship.
See?
Spaceship.
Everything comes from this movie,
Yeah.
guys.
Time Bandits is just
Confirmed.
Yeah,
It's the source.
yeah that's true.
And
Time
we
Bandits went and stole
get, yeah,
From all
that's
of
what it
these.
is.
That's the
yeah.
real
Yeah.
tale of Time Bandits.
from the future. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get everybody fighting evil and evil having
Just like
the
in a
most
video
rid-
game. They do it one at a time.
Yep. And it's the most ridiculous thing.
Like when he
There's-
turns into a merry-go-round and like
Yeah. So the first attempt,
I'm not gonna lie, I'd forgotten about that. See,
I can't. This is like Geiger like came back and was like, oh yes, by the way, did you know that you can use a spinal cord to attach a blade to? So like the cowboys, they're first. So they go and they lasso him and
Because
Evil's-
Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Evil's just like, yeah, whatever, bitch. And begins to spin around, taking all of them with him. And instead of like wrapping up around him, they kind of like go out in like a fan pattern. And
have you guys
Evil-
ever seen that ride at like the carnival where like you're in a chair and it just spins you and you're like your chair just lifts up? That's
like the
that's
swings.
that moment.
Dude, that by
That
the way,
swing,
that ride,
yeah.
that ride is terrifying.
Yeah,
I hate that.
because
it's that, but with cowboys.
Yeah.
so
and
as-
Satan in the middle.
yeah.
So they're spinning. Yeah, they're spinning out, and Evil just sprouts this pole with a knife on the end of it that comes down and cuts all their ropes, so they go flying off and dying. The next one is like they all try and fire arrows at him, and he just like kind of like turns into this giant fucking tomato looking
Yeah.
thing, and then fires all the arrows back.
Kills them all.
Yeah, kills them all. The knights come in, so he just uses fucking mustard gas. Like he puts on a
Oh,
gas
that was the
mask.
best part because he like straight up gas mask.
And
Yellow.
I was writing notes down, and Chad's like, "You're missing the part where we put on the gas mask, Derek."
Listen, I didn't know anything about this movie, but what I did know is Evil had just put on a gas mask. Some shit was gonna go down that you didn't want to miss.
And yeah, kills them, and then impales them on all of their weapons, making this weird like R shape.
Oh,
It was haunting. It was very strange to look at. Kids movie.
and literally,
PG.
and literally,
Rated PG.
PG.
I'm literally all of us at that point went, oh look, it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's the end of the longest night. Look, there's Jorah.
Jorah.
Spoiler alert here.
Yeah, well, you know, if they haven't watched it by now. Yeah, speaking of which.
This was on you.
Yeah. You knew what you were getting into. Jesus. And so they're like, okay, Panzer. They fire the Panzer. He just blocks it. He just kind of like bats it away. There's like this little spark effect that goes off on his hand. They didn't do anything particularly fancy with that. They used
He open palms it too. He just
Yeah.
goes like, pew.
yeah.
And then he takes control over it. Basically.
Yeah, he basically makes it do like this little samba, and they start firing at each other.
That and the spaceship.
Yeah, the spaceship, which knocks down a column, which actually straight up flatten kills one of the time bandits, Fidget.
Who was my
yeah.
second favorite, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
Fidget.
That
Poor
was, that was
and when Fidget died, my favorite one, the tall pirate one, gets so enraged. There is more emotion between him losing his friend Fidget than in all of Endgame.
It's true.
Like, he is so enraged. He tries to like fight evil by himself, and I'm sitting here like, don't do it, man. You're all I've got.
And it took like 4 of them to hold him back.
Like 4 of them and the kid.
Yeah, Kevin, who's like at least got 20, 30 pounds on him. It's just this weird zany moment. And what happens?
I feel like evil's about to win. Like he controls everything.
Yeah. And then he just blows up.
Yeah, no,
he turns to stone first.
Yeah, he starts to smoke, he turns to stone, and then just fucking explodes. And then Andros shows up, the Supreme Being, and it's just a guy in a really nice tux, really nice 3-piece suit. He's just
he starts commanding people to do stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like he just shows up and he starts like, clean up all this evil, put it all in this post office box. And
yeah, he's like, Fidget's dead.
Yeah,
and then he's like, that's no excuse for
not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So the pillar comes flying
like,
off.
Jesus,
Fidget is alive. He literally just shakes his head and he's fine.
What happened?
And
get to work.
So
the leader's like apologizing and being like, we didn't mean to steal it. And he's like, of course you didn't mean to steal it. I gave it to you.
Yeah.
He's like, how else was I supposed to test all this out? Like,
they go through a lot of exposition fairly quickly, and I don't feel like I missed anything either, which is really
kind of impressive.
Yeah, considering. And they do this great bit where it actually took us like 3 like reviews of the shot to figure out what was going on. Where they ask, okay, so you created evil, so why do we need
plot
evil?
twist, evil's wrong.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, yeah, I guess that's a good question. And he turns around and walks away and goes behind a pillar. Literally a second later comes back and goes, oh, yeah, well, I guess it has something to do with choice.
Something about
I think
free
it has
will.
to do with free will.
And it's
But it was
done-
such a weirdly random scene because it's just like, he's like, oh, yes, good question. And then he just like disappears and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Why did this happen? Like we had to like review it 3 times.
Because
And
we're just like, did something on his costume change? Is there like
the audio changed a little bit and that was about it. And Billy goes, it has to do something with the fact that like it's a gag where it's like God's not answering your question. He's just like, oh yeah, I guess I wonder, and then comes back and actually comes and explains it, which is
he doesn't really explain it though because he just kind of goes like,
I guess
oh
it's
well,
yeah.
free will.
Something about free will.
Yeah, and that's kind of like such a stereotypical kind of like Christian answer where if like you kind of ask Christianity about like, well, okay, so if God's all good, then why is there evil? And they'll just be like, oh, free will, and you're just like, okay,
that doesn't answer. It's not a satisfying answer.
Yeah, and I think like kind of culminating to this point, you kind of see how in this world like how incompetent like Supreme Being is, and sort of like because in the end when they clean up all of the pure concentrated evil, they miss a little bit of it, right? And then
it's weird though because like the Supreme Being seems to have like this grand master plan that he knows and nobody else does. And then everyone around him just seems to like feel like they have free will, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like a really odd commentary on religion in a kid's movie.
Very brief, like introduction to criticism of religion.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. I wonder if that was intentional or not. I'm knowing the Monty Python guys and their stance on, or not necessarily stance, just how they do God.
Yeah, I mean,
generally,
like Life of Brian,
right.
Yeah. Holy Grail. They all have.
Yeah,
God's
God's always kind of like either like all commanding kind of like doofus or like just kind of winging it,
or kind of a dick.
Yeah,
Like they're like, he said they got their pay reduced, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he says something about it. He's like, really, I should punish you in some horrific manner, but I'm too tired for that, so we'll just
lower
put
your
you
salary.
into shrubbery and reduce your salary by 19%. He says something like, he's like, but post dated to the beginning of time. And you're like,
I know.
You're like, oh,
Jesus.
Yeah.
He's a hard ass.
And the kid's like, why did all those people have to die? And he's just like, man.
Yeah, I know. Testing out evil,
Yeah,
I
just
think it
gotta
went pretty
test
well.
out evil.
Gotta give him his runs.
He's like, I think evil turned out pretty well. And you're like,
So
what?
And I guess that's like, does that mean there's no more evil anymore? Like,
I'm sure there.
like,
Well,
except for
it
the
almost
animals.
looks like I almost feel like he's gonna go on to Evil 2.0.
Yeah,
Let's make something more evil.
Yeah,
exactly. He's now got
he's gonna go
motive.
research the pieces.
Yeah.
And
he's gonna go make the Infinity Stone.
my next evil will be Parapose.
Yeah. Yeah. So God gathers all the time bandits together. Well, not God, excuse me, the Supreme Being, and pieces out. But there's a piece of evil still left behind, which dissolves into like this green smoke, enveloping Kevin, putting him.
I was gonna say, mind you, during this time, the Time Bandits are like begging to bring Kevin along.
Yeah.
Well, one of them
Yeah.
is.
No, I think they're all doing it. Yeah.
Fidget definitely is.
Yeah.
And God says something like, "No, he has to stay here to continue the fight."
Yeah.
And you're like, "The fuck's going on, man?" Like,
And it's like, but you made the like.
yeah, isn't evil dead? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
And sure enough, they just kind of take off in this poof of smoke. And there's a little bit of evil left behind. It dissolves into this green-looking smoke. And Kevin wakes up in his bed back at home. And there's a fire that's broken out in his home. It's revealed that there are firefighters like taking everybody out. The parents are outside. They didn't bother going in for Kevin, by the way. They have like a
that's actually
an
another
oven.
really good point. Is that they're outside just to prove how bad these parents are.
Yeah.
They're outside arguing about saving like another appliance.
Yeah.
and their own kid is like
And their own kid
choking on smoke.
Yeah, being dragged out by firefighters.
Yeah.
And I think that there was kind of a moment when he wakes up that it kind of feels like it's almost like a fever dream of somewhat.
Oh, when the fireman picks him up, and this was something that is oddly tied in, is the fireman picks him up, and as he's leaving him, he steps on what is essentially
The
a
battlefield.
board game version of the final battle.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's a chest, there's a tank there, there's a spaceship there, there's knights kind of
Legos everywhere.
Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and becomes this kind of like, okay, was this all a dream?
Yeah, this
was
is
it a
gonna-
fever dream? Or
Which it becomes very clear. One of the firefighters is actually Sean Connery.
yeah.
Two, the parents find the culprit, which is like an
All the Polaroids, because he takes Polaroids throughout this entire adventure.
he's going through.
And he
goes
has
through the
them all
pictures. Yeah.
still.
So it kind of like makes you question why they did that. I guess it was to throw the audience off, but the parents open up the culprit, and it's got a piece of the evil in it. And Kevin's response is clear and obvious when he says,
Don't
"Mom,
touch it."
Dad, don't touch it."
It's pure evil.
Mom and Dad immediately put their mitts on it and explode.
And Kevin is left there in like this like shocked terror.
And
And then Sean Connery, fireman, opens
winks.
the door and like gets into the fire truck next to him, and he like looks up at him. Like Kevin looks up at Sean Connery, and he just
Winks
like
at
looks
him.
down, winks at him, and then they drive off.
Yep.
And you're like,
and that's how the movie
What?
ends. Kevin's an orphan now.
His parents are dead.
Kevin's an orphan. His parents are dead. Sean Connery might have been in on it.
So, Time Bandits. Guys, if you're just listening to this podcast to get your fill of time, I need you to go ahead and go watch this movie seriously. Because
Do not watch this movie by yourself.
no, this is definitely a party movie, I think. I feel like this is better with more people.
This is
Which
one of those movies where you're gonna want to make comments about the movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's
But it makes it really good.
we breezed past a lot of the plot and a lot of the movie as a whole.
And so we really discovered a lot of the zanier stuff.
Yeah, it was so just wacky and absurd and just so much fun. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to point out before we get into the little bit that we have left of the show? Like,
Go for it.
I think we covered the like basis of the movie. Like,
yeah, okay.
I would definitely agree with Derek. I'd say go watch it. I'm not the kind of person that some people love bad movies. I'm not that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun during this movie though, especially just making a bunch of comments about the movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
Especially for like a really old kind of cheesy British movie.
Billy?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah, like if you like, the normal sort of Monty Python kind of humor, like Holy Grail and Life of Brian, then this is definitely
comes with that asterisk of you need to have an appreciation for British comedy before you.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do, then it fits perfectly.
This is definitely a 101 on like. I've never watched Monty Python before. Do you think I'll like it? Well, I've got this kids movie here.
yeah. See if you like.
Which it's kind of hard to find. Like I mentioned at the top, it's not on any streaming service. It's only available on YouTube for rent for like $2. But I mean, honestly, I might just go out and buy this movie because it was just that much fun, and I think it's definitely worth having.
Yeah, it's great.
So we'll get into the creativity dice portion of the podcast, which is where I roll a d8, and dependent on what I roll,
I actually do. I'm sorry, I do have to back up for just a second.
Okay.
And I just wanted to confirm something before I brought it up. So there's a movie, and I don't know who has, and I'm not sure how popular it is. Terry Gilliam also directed it. It's called Brazil.
Okay.
I think this. I had to watch it in film school. And I think this explains a lot about Terry Gilliam as a writer-director, because Brazil is all about like the false society and the darker stuff. And if you pay attention to a lot of the things in Time Bandits, there is a constantly dark theme throughout all of this movie about like anti-technology taking over your lives, anti-television. Like there's a lot of very dark things in the background of this movie. If you're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And definitely. I think this kind of helps set up a lot of, not in like a sequel way or anything. Like Brazil's a completely different movie, but I think it sets Terry Gilliam up as a storyteller.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
And for any of you that are now thinking, maybe I'll go watch Brazil, I warn you, it is a very strange movie, and the ending is just as unsatisfying. Like that's his hallmark. His hallmark is just like, you wanted an ending? Go fuck yourself.
I mean, I thought that the ending was kind of goes back into Kevin when he's sort of questioning the Supreme Being, like, why did all these people have to die just for like this test? And
I'm not saying the ending didn't work within the confines of the movie. I'm saying it's unsatisfying from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah. I guess it's, he sort of left there kind of like, unresolved. Like,
Terry Gilliam doesn't like answers.
Yeah.
Terry Gilliam wants to make you.
He was the Supreme Being.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, thinking movies are fine. Inception is fine. That's fine. Those are great movies. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you want a movie with an answer.
Yeah. So we're going to do the creativity dice, which basically resorts to I'm going to roll a d8, and based on the outcome, we either reread the script as the guest chooses, draw a movie poster, draw the movie poster or make it better, recast the movie, make a non-lethal drinking game about the movie, make a pornographic parody title not already existing if there already is a Time Bandits parody.
I really hope there's not.
Roll up a D&D character based off of what we saw.
From a character in the movie?
Yes.
That actually would be pretty sweet.
There's like Evil's, 2 or 3 of these I'm really hoping for.
Yeah. Evil's going to be like a level 20 already. Make up a theme song for the movie. And 8 is make a PowerPoint presentation pitch about how this movie probably got made. Okay, here we go. That's a 2. 2 is draw the movie poster or make it better. Chad is shaking his head no.
I mean,
this is like literally the only one I didn't want.
It's true. I
have been telling him, please don't do this one since he talked to me about this podcast.
So we'll just do this. I'm just going to. It's 2 again.
Nice.
Fuck you, Destiny.
It's a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. So we.
What's the 4?
The 4 is make a non-lethal drinking game.
Oh, maybe we get some better dice.
I just grabbed it from Billy's tray, so really, it's Billy's.
Oh, okay. Blame me. I understand.
Would you guys be opposed to doing a group chat this week where we just try to make Evil as a D&D character anyways, and we can just put that up? Like,
that'd be pretty dope. Yeah.
Like we can still do this. I'm just saying, like as a bonus feature, that could be fun.
I mean, I'd be down for it. We can talk about that later. But here's let's see. We'll do
non-lethal drinking game.
Non-lethal drinking game. drink once for every time there's at least more than one death going on screen at a time.
Oh man.
Okay. Take a swig of beer every time evil kills someone.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Won't kill you, but it'll probably get you drunk.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not trying to kill him.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Maybe when their leaderless group of people
Has a leader.
yeah, make some sort of decision.
All right, we'll do one more round because we're running real high on time here.
Sure.
Every time a historical figure doesn't meet your expectations, go ahead and take yourself a drink.
If you're watching this movie with friends, anytime you or one of your friends points out another better role one of the actors has been in, take a drink.
Oh god, yeah. This movie is the jumping off point for so many.
I choose to believe this is actually their big breakthrough. I know it's not, but I choose to believe this.
Yeah, I think whenever you can find another movie that has stolen from Time Bandits.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're
We said non-lethal.
Yeah, that's true.
But with that, guys, I want to go ahead and take a moment. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Billy, for your insight and your voices, and Billy for your IT expertise, for getting this little bad boy running, because Lord knows we were having troubles. 2 hours.
I didn't know what I was doing.
No,
so.
all of us were basically like monkeys just learning how to use tools for the first time.
That scene in the beginning of
2001.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just this is the obelisk. But really, no, thank you very much. Could not have done this episode without you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I hope to merit an invite back sometime in the future.
I mean, definitely. Anytime you guys want, just let me know.
Yeah, cool.
If you guys are interested, there's the Discord you guys can follow. I have my Facebook and Instagram pages you can follow for up-to-date conversations about not only the show, but movies as a whole. There's my Patreon, which I'm thinking about doing Patreon-specific episodes. I almost said Pacific. And then I just threw myself under the bus.
Pacific and Northwest.
I just like it under the bus, okay? And of course, make sure to follow everybody on the Working on a Network. We have Easy XP, and they're bi-monthly episodes. Yeah, let's go with bi-monthly. And the Untitled Mixtape, where they discuss music. And that's pretty much it. And lastly, I want to say thank you to everybody who has decided to listen to the very first episode. On YouTube, I'm up to 72 hits.
Nice.
Which I was expecting 5.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot more.
Derek's a star.
I finally made it, Mom.
Even if half of those are bots, you know.
Oh
it's still
god, yeah,
pretty
no,
good.
17 of them are like at least Russian bots.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week, or excuse me, next episode, where we will be doing a Godzilla movie of yet I have to decide. I'm looking between the big like Avengers one they have, which is Destroy All Monsters, which is like this big, it's just one from the 70s where basically Toho dumps out their entire movie library. And then there's Godzilla Final Wars from 2004, which I showed Chad, and he's pointing at me like, "Why aren't you using this one?"
Because that one has Zilla. That's why.
Yeah, no,
Nice.
that might be the one, but I'm going back and forth between them right now. I want to celebrate the legendary release, and yeah, so that's what we're gonna do next week. I just need to decide which one.
Next episode.
Thank you very much. Because
Don't set expectations.
This is not a weekly episode.
yeah, this is not
Serious.
a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
So Billy's fiance is beating me over the head because Game of Thrones is on, and we need to stop this right away. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop button. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, or listening in this case. YouTube and SoundCloud are where you can find me right now, and that's where I'm going to stop. Okay, bye. It didn't stop.